What's going on, and welcome into the Casual Gaming News Conversation. I'm one of your hosts, Nick. That's Connor, and this is your weekly podcast from Co-op64, where we discuss the previous week in the games industry. Connor, how are you feeling today?
Feeling good. Long week. Ready for the weekend. Think I'm going to go to a few game stores tomorrow, maybe poke around, see if I can't find myself an OLED Vita that I'm comfortable buying. It's been a journey. It's been a journey. I've seen a bunch of them. I think I really just have to rip the Band-Aid and accept that there's no perfect OLEDs out there anymore. They all have a scuff or two on them. They've all been well loved. You know what I mean? They've been used. If you're buying a Vita, you're using it all the time. You're taking it with you. It's gonna get some chips in the armor. All right. So
100%.
I have to accept that. I'm gonna find one that's acceptable and go from there. But I want an OLED Vita pretty badly at this point. Got my yearly bonus, and I was like, this is gonna be my little treat to myself. Put a bunch away in savings. Set aside a Vita fund for when I find one in the wild. So I'm gonna go to a few stores tomorrow and see how that goes. But how are you doing, Nick?
I'm doing well. It's been a fun week. Good to beat Metroid Prime finally.
Yes.
Connor, what a game.
Yeah.
What a brilliant video game.
It's no Parasite Eve, though.
No one's ever told me about Metroid Prime before. I didn't respect that. I'm kidding. I've heard about this game throughout many years of talking about and being in the video games industry and world and everything, and just trying to focus on video games. This game's phenomenal. It's unbelievable.
Stick the landing for you?
Yeah, the final boss is exactly what I want and what you want from a final boss fight. It is difficult. Like, there's moments where I'm like, oh, I might die, I might go down, but it doesn't kill me all the time and take me out of it. It lets me like push through and finally just beat the game at a good pace. And it does just like pure gameplay fun moments time and time again. It hooks you in just enough to just keep you coming back for more throughout this like last 40 minutes of boss fighting. It's a ton of fun.
I started Parasite Eve, as you know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be so annoying about this game, dude. This is gonna be one of those games that I'm gonna champion probably forever, as long as it just keeps up the pace that it currently has. You know who does the soundtrack for this game?
I don't.
Yoko Shimomura of Kingdom Hearts fame. It all makes sense now. When somebody, I think Goop said that in the chat after like 2 hours of playing and me just gushing about how amazing the music is in this game, and then he's like, "It's Yoko Shimomura." I'm like, "Yep, that makes perfect sense. She only cooks."
The music in the game is phenomenal.
Like, so good.
I was in your stream for, I would say, roughly an hour, like 15-minute chunks throughout the night and everything. And every single time I was like, this looks gameplay-wise not my cup of tea. Looks very PS1.
Oh, so good.
Just not something that I would enjoy, but the music is phenomenal.
Just gorgeous pre-rendered backgrounds, gorgeous fixed camera angles to like really kind of set the stage for what you're supposed to be looking at. Great character design. You know who did the character design?
Who?
Tetsuya Nomura. This is a Connor-ass video game, dude. It all makes sense. That like, this is exactly, I don't know why I didn't know this information. I don't know why I haven't played this video game before. This might be an all-timer for me. Like, I think it's so unique and cool and weird, and I love it so much. I love it to death.
Hell yeah.
I'm excited for those streams.
You want to know what I love?
What?
Housekeeping. That is right. We have a Patreon, everyone. I don't know if you heard about it in the past month of us talking about the current content slate. We're 1 month in, Connor. This is the marking of our like first full month is complete with this new slate. How do you feel right now?
I feel good. I feel like we put out a really good slate of content over there. And the workload of shooting 3 podcasts a week at least,
sometimes
generally
4.
speaking. Yeah, sometimes 4. That's right. Yeah, with the Co-op 64 podcast, and you could count Recollecting Retro a little bit.
Yeah.
But I thought, I mean, with the amount that we worked last year, I was like, this is a lot. Like, I have my full-time job, obviously, and then I'm coming over here and we're shooting content, and it's rewarding. Like, you're doing something that you love, obviously. But I'm like, I wonder how the next year is going to go. Like, basically quadrupling the amount of content that we're shooting, and shockingly, so far, very easy, very straightforward. Doesn't feel like it's like too much to ask, shooting a ton more content, and it's been super fun to get the feedback that people are enjoying it. People are enjoying the streams, people are enjoying the podcast, people are enjoying the bonus podcasts, helping them get through the week. If you use our podcast to help you get through your work day, like, and you're over on the Patreon, you're getting through multiple days hearing us yap in your ear talking about video games. So the feedback on that front has been awesome, with people saying they really appreciate the the content over there. But if you're on free feeds, you're getting the bonus. You're getting this podcast now as well. You're getting 2 podcasts a week, and I think that we're delivering the goods, hopefully, and it's been good.
You're also getting Bradyborn, which is a delightful thing over on the free feeds. Speaking of Twitch streams, we are continuing on with Bradyborn. We have a few more streams of that coming out. It's been a lot of fun playing through all of Bradyborn. Like for me, it's never going to be called Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Evermore. It is just Bradyborn. It's all there is. It's all there ever will be.
We're getting there. I think there's only like 2 more main bosses, right?
We got.
Well, technically 3, depending on if you do what you did.
Well,
or not.
I was about to say spoilers on boss names real quick, which is right over your head. You wouldn't know unless we got Mikolash, which is the cage dude. We got Wet Nurse, and then we definitely have the final boss.
Yeah,
and I mean it really goes after you beat Mikolash. It's just. Yep. There's a straight run to the next boss, and then not even a straight run.
We should go fight the amygdala, probably. I would say.
Yeah. Well, my whole thing with Bradyborn at this point, it just needs to lead into Monster Hunter. It just needs to lead into that Monster Hunter Monday stream. Because Connor, that's all I care about right now. Last night I broke a little bit. I didn't download the beta because I'm not a beta boy. But but I go and turn on Max Dude Million stream. He's playing the beta a little bit, and I'm just like, God damn, this looks so good.
I don't want to touch it at all. I want to just be excited for day one and jump in and be able to just go with Monster Hunter. I know that I'm bad with the stop and start of a lot of games. Like even I took like a week off of playing Final Fantasy X on the Vita, and it's just been like, okay, like gotta kind of reacclimate myself to this gameplay experience, this world, and I think I'm back in a little bit, but like it's hard. So the same thing can apply to betas where I if I start it, I might just never even go back to it at all. So I don't want to do that with Monster Hunter, a game that I think will become an obsession. I fear. So
I hope it's so interesting thinking like how and when and we're gonna review that game. But what I know for a fact is that Friday, me and Matt, we're going till late night. You and Brady can drop off whenever you want on that Friday stream when that initially comes out. But Matt and I will be holding it down very late into that night. He's like, yeah, I don't work that Saturday, dude. I'll go the entire distance, and I'm like, Matt, we're gonna have a great time. Are you excited for that Friday stream?
It's gonna be. I mean, the whole stream slate of playing Monster Hunter basically for a week straight is gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's gonna be a blast. We also have a Discord page. It is linked in the description below. Join over 2,300 amazing community members yapping it up. Did you like my Seth Rollins post today of talking shit to you and Brady about how I'm gonna kick your ass in Halo tonight?
Yeah, I'm not good at Halo. Like I wouldn't like talk shit, but maybe I'll just talk a big shit and then like end up doing amazing, like really kind of overachieving, but we'll see. But this will be immediately dated for anybody listening to this after like 2 hours after it posts.
Exactly. But that's another initiative. You could go and say, hey, hop over to the Patreon so it's not dated for you at all. And then we also have new merch. It is co-op64store.com. Go and check that out. Review us over on Apple Podcasts. It gets the pod out to more people and allows more people to enjoy this amazing podcast. And leave your full-on reviews. I read those. It gets it's nice to have those commentary when it comes to what we're actually doing right and wrong and try to go and make the show better. We do take that feedback to heart. And then comment section for last week. If you ever have a comment that you want to go and have us read, go and or not read. If we ever get something wrong and we need to go and fix it, leave it in the comments below on this episode or any future episode, and we will go and set the record straight on the next episode. There was one comment about Herman Holst.
Yeah, I'm confused about the verbiage for his title.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It might not have been a full demotion, but great shout out to that person that left that comment last week discussing whether Herman got demoted or just got moved. But it is... he is now not in the same position he was last year. That is the news that we were discussing last week. But thank you so much for that comment because it allows us to go and set the record straight. Connor, are you ready to hop into story number 1?
Let's do it.
Headline, PlayStation State of Play coming February 14th. Rumor suggests. This is Mike Straw over at Insider Gaming. Quote, yet another rumor suggesting the next State of Play is coming this month. This one, however, has a date tied to the claim. According to PH Brazil, PlayStation is set to host its next State of Play on Friday, February 14th. His claim backs up prior ones from Nate the Hate of an event happening in February. PlayStation's last State of Play took place in September 2024. That event included games like Astrobot, Sonic X Shadows Generation, Palworld, and Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered. End quote. Connor, this is where we're just going to go all in when it comes to our predictions and get excited. But before we get into our predictions, I do have a question for you. Friday,
I was thinking
Valentine's
the same thing.
Day, the first one that would ever be on a Friday.
Exactly. Yeah, that was weird.
Why?
I mean, like, if there's a Kingdom Hearts 4 reveal here of some kind, that's the only reason, like, the Valentine's Day thing would be relevant.
What's about Valentine's in Cage 4?
Hearts.
Okay. That is, you got me on that one.
Yeah.
All right. That makes too much
I've
sense.
seen the Kingdom Hearts community on Twitter and stuff being like, full on tinfoil capping it, being like, oh, it's got to be. And it's like, I don't know about that. I'm not getting my hopes up. I am completely off the train of putting my clown makeup on for Kingdom Hearts 4. When it shows up, it shows up. But that might be some reason for a Friday State of Play, but I don't know otherwise.
Yeah, this is weird and I don't like it. Normally,
They're always in the afternoon too. Did they say a time on that?
No. Okay. There's never they never release like times when it comes to these rumors. I feel like
always 5 o'clock.
Yeah, it's 4 or 5 o'clock almost
Okay.
Every single time. It used to be nice back in college where it would be 5 o'clock and then 4 for Central Time. I would get out of my last class. You and I would hop on a reaction together. Maybe Brady would be involved and go from there. But I love the reaction, or not reaction. I love the State of Play and the reaction that happens during it. We will be live reacting if there is a State of Play next week. 100%. There will be a crew reacting to that. I don't know if it's all three of us or it's just Connor and I, but that will happen if this does come through. I love going reacting. I love doing these things, but I like them in the middle of the week. There's something to make the week spicy. My weekend's going to be fun enough already. I don't need a State of Play on a weekend. Also, when it comes to the marketing aspect of it, it being on Valentine's Day is odd. Like, you're doing, you people are busy. People have like other things on their mind. You are not owning the day if you're PlayStation. If it is February 14th, don't get into the fact that maybe gamers don't have a loved one, Connor. Okay, I don't know what's happening over there.
That's not what I was saying at all. I'm just saying I don't think it really matters.
Yeah,
you have a thing at 5 o'clock that's 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then people go on with the rest of their day. Like,
yeah.
Whether it's a fucking random Thursday or Valentine's Day, I don't think it matters for news.
That's
news
true.
Is news. Like, the information is exciting or it's not. So,
well, where are you at with before we get into predictions? We are both brought 3 predictions today. This will be our State of Play predictions episode for this February State of Play. But before we get into that, where's your hype level with the State of Play?
It's where it always is. It's like a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Just leave it kind of like at good, and we'll go from there. And usually, I think lately I've been pleasantly surprised where I think they've had good State of Plays recently. So I would say 7 out of 10 to go in, and then it's probably hopefully can end up being like an 8 or something.
Yeah, I'm low on this one. This is such an interesting one for me because normally when it comes to State of Plays, showcases, whatever it is, I am Mr. Like Xbox last year, I was like, I'm at a 9, and they somehow exceeded it. Game Awards, I was like, I'm at a 10, and they, in my opinion, delivered that 10 out of 10 hype. This, I hate to say it, I'm at like a 6. Like, because they have the chess pieces. I have, as I always do, the games list of games that just exist, and we'll do a quick run through of bang, 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 bang. Does it show up? Does it not show up? After we do our actual predictions. But like, and I look at that list, I'm like, oh, there's a lot of stuff that they could show. There's excitement to be had during this State of Play. But if I'm betting on it with all the studio closures, do I think Ghost is going to be here? All these things are just adding up to me to be like, I'm going to lean on the no side when we go through that yes or no list, where normally I'm like 4 or 5 titles of consequence could show up and then like 3 do. This time I'm like, I feel like 3 might show up and it might only end up being 2 or 1, which is...
Are we talking about third party or first party?
All in. I'm nervous with this State of Play.
I don't know why you'd think that. I mean, like...
I just don't...
There's a lot out there that we don't know about, or there's rumors about, or... I don't know. There's bad news when it comes to PlayStation first party, but even with that bad news, they have a lot of first party studios that could be ready soon.
That 100%, there is first party that could be here soon, but normally this State of Play is focusing on things that are happening in the first half of the year, and then there's a couple of, hey, maybe further down the line things. Like last year we did get something like Death Stranding that was way out there, but it was really focused on Helldivers, Stellar Blade, and Rise of the Ronin. Those games that were February through April. Yeah,
they don't have that luxury this time though.
Do you think that what are you saying, that they aren't going to be able to talk about things that are happening soon?
Yeah, because there's nothing. They're not going to
Okay.
announce something and have it come out in the first half of the year. Like
Well-
that, they would need to do updates on stuff that was already announced, like they did with those 3 games. And there isn't something in the first half of the year. I would not imagine, other than like the potential of Death Stranding,
Yeah.
which I think is just a release date kind of trailer
Yep.
situation.
Well,
and then
that-
Ghost is later in the year, definitely. Like there's no shot that game is coming out in the first half of the year.
I closely concur. We'll talk about it with the It Takes Two 2025 Grand Theft Auto story and everything in a moment of how that's going to
It
affect.
Takes Two.
Not It Takes Two. Takes Two with
was gonna say.
GTA 5
That
and everything.
threw me
No,
off.
we're not. No, Hazelight Studio is not going to go and affect the state of play in February. I don't think, at least. But let's hop into these predictions, Connor. We both brought 3 predictions. Do you want to go first?
Sure, because it's boring.
Yeah.
I'll take the first crack at it. Resident Evil 9 announced shades of State of Play 2022. Kicks it off. First trailer of the shebang. Leon Kennedy, of course, as is rumored. Maybe dual protagonist Leon and Jill. And it looks awesome. And it's coming out later this year.
I love that. And let's break that down real quick. I told you on the Monday stream, I was like, fuck, I kind of see it. Like it took me some time, but you know how you got to visualize to realize, Connor? I visualized. I was like, shit, we're going to be on this desk. We're going to be hanging out, having a good time. The lights are going to go dim. It's going to pop up with a Sony logo. And then we're going to finally kick off the state of play. And the first thing that's going to be shown is Resident Evil 9.
Yeah.
Like it feels money in the bank. It feels good. It feels right. Honestly, you need it for your fantasy critic team quite a bit for this to deliver the goods. Here's the thing, though. I almost just am at the point where I'm like, what if it's not that? Because my first prediction is Death Stranding 2 kicks off the show. We get the release date trailer. It is that. And if it's not going to be, if this Resident Evil trailer is not kicking off the show, I don't think it's closing the show either. And so now I'm nervous of like, does it even happen at all? So I'm trying to like visualize what this whole showcase is actually going to be. And so my first prediction, Death Stranding 2 kicks off the show. We had a release date on the beach. It's got to be summertime. I'm going to throw out a July release date for that one, where I'm like, that feels right to me, where this can be.
Why does it need to be summertime?
Yeah, it's on the beach.
No.
It's on the beach, Connor.
Give me May at the latest.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that makes more sense to me, where I'm like, PlayStation needs
You could even quicker.
a game.
April. March seems too soon.
March
or
is
whatever,
too soon for that. Late April would be the earliest I would assume we could get a release date on it. But May would be amazing because PlayStation right now has a date issue. They have nothing in the first half of this year.
Yeah.
And so this is answering the questions that we have of what the fuck is happening in this first half of the year. Death Stranding 2 would make sense.
Here's part of the conversation that we're going to kind of talk about with Metal Gear Solid here shortly. Like, we don't consider certain games big wins for like specifically PlayStation or their slate. Since they're not really competing with Xbox at this point, they're kind of doing their own separate things. Monster Hunter is their game for February. They have the marketing rights to it.
Yep.
They're not that is their. We have PS5. You're gonna be playing Monster Hunter for this month, and then you have something that can come out in May, and then you have something that come out in August, and then you have something that comes out in November, and that's your year on PlayStation. We already know something that's probably coming out in August now. So like when we're talking about Monster Hunter, Death Stranding, their slate for this year, it's like they do have stuff in the first half of this year. Are they exclusives? Are they like specific PlayStation wins? Not necessarily, but that's not how PlayStation looks at it.
Yeah.
They just look at their catalog for games that are coming out on the console. They're like, Monster Hunter, we're not putting something out around that.
It is shown very much so when PlayStation, who I follow on Instagram, does every single first day of the month. You get your monthly calendar of, hey, this is what's coming out this month for major releases that are announced. And like, it is not first party titles. They just want you to go and play games on their console.
Yeah, they're not trying to drag you away from Xbox at this point. They're just trying to keep you playing on PlayStation.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
We always say that they're not in the business of console wars. They're in the business of time and your time. They're trying to make sure
they are coasting at this point.
Yeah.
On a lot of just goodwill and having sold 60 million PlayStation 5s already. Like they're just going to keep selling, and people are going to keep buying games on it and be spending their time on PlayStation, whether that be in third-party support, second-party support, or first-party support. PlayStation doesn't give a fuck. I mean, they would like it to be first-party so they can make more money off of it, of course, but yeah.
All right, what's your second prediction, Connor?
My second prediction is another thing to fill out the first half of the year. Astrobot paid DLC coming in the first half of the year. We already saw an additional speedrun level, I think a random one at like some sort of event. You know what I'm talking about? It was like some sort of speedrunning event or something like that. Team Asobi was showing off or letting people play an additional level that is not out to the public. So like it would only make sense. Also, in the fucking level, there is the PlayStation symbols like floating out in each like world map area. In like I assumed that those would be like unlocked throughout the game. And very clearly to me at this point, those are spaces for additional worlds, like 2 in each thing. So you get 10 levels, 12 levels or whatever if you include the bonus galaxy. I think like full on things, and you have a partnership with somebody like Square Enix that they can finally get those characters in the game. That like, yeah, it makes sense to me.
I'm going to push back on you on this one. I could see that happening. It won't be paid. I think that they just want more and more people to play Astrobot, and when the speedrun levels weren't paid DLC, because what would it be? $10,
$20.
$20 for 10. I think that's a harder sell unless you are coming in with
it's game of the year. I think that there's so much cachet behind it. They could probably I mean like $20 is like I think reasonable. You know what I mean?
I think that if they're gonna do it in the way that this game is all about bringing smiles and really being like this thing that PlayStation has as the champion right now, I think it's such a good marketing win to be like, hey, Astrobot game of the year, here's even more.
I think it's a good marketing win, but like we said, they're in the business of making money, and they don't have paid releases for first party in the first half of this year for the most part. So 10 levels, speed run levels as well, as we know, since we didn't see that.
Some more of them? Or yeah. Okay, great.
Well, I mean, we already know one exists so you have to imagine there's more, or you would hope at least.
By the way, I've never seen this level they're talking about when it comes to the extra level. I have not seen that.
It uses like the time mechanic.
Okay, cool.
Yep. And then challenge levels. And I feel like that's a good smattering of content. $10, $15, $20. I could see I would be willing to pay $20. I understand if people are like, that's expensive, but
I just don't know if you're able to get more people in with $20 because even like going back and playing I played every level that Astrobot currently has when it comes to the Christmas level and all the speedrun levels after the fact. It's an exciting thing to be like, oh yeah, I kind of want to do this. But if I wasn't like covered in games or anything, I think it's a harder sell to be like, yeah, I fucking love Astrobot. We gave it a masterpiece score. It's amazing. But like when it's that, or let's just say this comes out in like late March, it's like that or playing the new Assassin's Creed, or it's that or playing a new third party full on title. I think it's a harder sell. So I could see it happening. I'm just throwing it out there. I think it's gonna be free.
I think this could literally come out on top of GTA and it would sell the same. You know what I mean? Like it's a quick, easy marketing beat for them that like I don't think takes up a ton of time. It's a expansion to game of the year, something that people just can kind of hop in and enjoy. Team Asobi just seems to have a lot of goodwill after the free DLC that they could be like, yeah, like let's expand this a little bit more, get another hit of cash inflow while we're working on the new game. You would imagine they're already starting on that. So yeah, I think it's possible. I would say it's likely even that we get paid DLC for this game.
Nice. I'm gonna come in here and be like, bad news bears. This is a 2-part.
They're
prediction.
Announcing the shutdown of Sony Santa Monica.
Please God, no. Bad news bears. Ghost of Yotei is not shown here. I don't think
no shot.
This is the time to go and deep dive it. Yep. If the only way that is the case is somehow they're like trying to release this game in like July or like August, but I think that they'll save that marketing push for May state of play. But this is where I'm going to come in with my one heater, Connor. I do think that we finally see what Insomniac is working on next. I'm not putting the stake in the ground that it's Wolverine. I believe it's Wolverine, but like it's Insomniac time. It is Insomniac's time to come out, and this is what closes the showcase also.
Yeah, definitely possible.
Like this is we talk about like the workhorse that has been Insomniac during the PS5 generation, and with all the news of these studios basically restarting their projects and like not having or like projects are completely going away, it is time for them to be like, hey, Wolverine. And I do think that it's this year. I think that it's going to happen this year, and honestly, I think it could happen in the part of my timeline is a little bit weird. I think that there is a chance that we do get Ghost later summer, and they want a similar release to the first Ghost around that July area. I would assume August-ish, but this might be the time to go and say, hey, get excited for something we're going to go and release in November this year, which would be a perfect time for Wolverine, in my opinion.
Yeah, I could see it happening.
Yep. I could also see Wolverine being canceled.
I think it's very unlikely that they're good to go, that this game just seems to be in trouble from all the rumors surrounding it, the leaks surrounding it, that they just are not in a good place with Wolverine. But I could see it happening. If you think it's 2025, though, I think you're dreaming. That's the big if I have there. I don't think it's 2025. If they could get shown again and they can show gameplay, but there's no shot it's coming out this year.
They just need, in my opinion, at this point to start to really steer the ship and like show people what's happening. And I think that is because my question to you is, and this might lead into your next prediction. So if it is part of your next prediction, let me know. Like, we're gonna get a Sony logo, like a Sony Studios logo during this fucking showcase. So if it's not Insomniac to follow up that logo, who is it? Is that part of your next prediction?
It is Sony Santa Monica, Cory Barlog's next game to close out the show. That's my prediction. It's a teaser trailer like Intergalactic.
Nothing would be safe, Connor. Nothing would be safe. Nothing would be safe, Connor.
Is it a space game though? Is the question. There's no shot. They let Naughty Dog and Sony Santa Monica both work on the same genre of game at the same time.
Here's the thing. The rumor is, right, with Intergalactic that it's not you're going planet to planet to planet and everything, right? This is you crash land and we're doing a story on a single planet, right. I believe. I could see it being a space game that is planet to planet to planet. There's different factions. So this is a full-blown RPG with different mechanics. But the question is, do you have Cory Barlog make that type of game? And my answer would be no. You let fucking Michael Jordan shoot the basketball. You want to keep him within his lane to some regard of making a story-driven, third-person, over-the-shoulder camera, story, linear game, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, there's hints of open world in God of War 2018. Yeah. I think you let Cory Barlog work on whatever the fuck he wants to work on.
True.
If he comes to you and is like, hey, I want to work on a massive multi-planet RPG, I think you let him do it. So.
I get that, but it's also like it is a really interesting spot with PlayStation's portfolio, and you don't want your two, I would say, best studios of when it comes to highest prestige. We're talking about 2018 game of the year, 2020 Last of Us Part 2 game of the year, and I wouldn't want both of those studios working on the exact same genre of game, but at the same time, I could see it. It's possible.
It's possible that it's the same genre, or we're just led astray and we don't know what the hell he's working on. But it's not God of War. I hope it's not God of War. There's no shot it's God of War. But I want Sony Santa Monica to make literally anything other than God of War at this point, just to like have some differentiation between what they've only been known for since 2004 or whatever it is. It would be nice to see them do something different. So, yeah, that's my final prediction.
My final prediction is Fair Games shows up in the middle of the show, and we're just like, nice. Cool. That might be a fun stream. That's it. That like it is just a perfect yeah, cool. This is it. It does nothing for us other than exactly what it did the first time around. Like, oh, that looks interesting, but like, what exactly is it? I think that it's gonna be another example like Concord where we leave with questions. I think that
you felt good after Concord.
No, I said where we leave with questions, not perfect.
You were excited about.
I was excited about Concord.
Do you think you'll leave this excited?
I think I'm going to leave as excited as I did with Concord.
So very excited.
I was actually less excited than Concord.
Okay.
I would say, because Concord for me, it was always just like, I know what this game is, and at the end of the day, it's going to be a great podcast game. I'll just like put the headphones in and focus in and dial it up. If this feels a little bit more like the finals I like fell completely off of. Like, I don't love the finals.
I think it'll feel like Payday, which neither of us have any experience in. And I'm interested in trying something like that. So I think I can imagine I will leave the Fair Games trailer more excited than I was for Concord, which after finishing Concord, I had a million questions on how viable it was, if this game was going to get an audience, questions about the direction of the tone with the quippy Guardians characters and how that was all going to work out. And clearly my questions were well warranted. So
Yes,
we shall
indeed,
see.
they were. All right, a couple more I just want to run through of just. We'll hop into the will it, won't it show up? I think that the big question is Marathon because it feels like it's time,
Yeah.
but is this where we get it? And is it this year? And like, could this be the full finale game? Like, I think that there's a chance that that's what closes the show when they do a big push saying like Marathon this year. Bungie's back, baby. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, Bungie needs a win for sure, and PlayStation needs a win with Bungie after spending $3 billion on them and getting basically nothing in return at this point.
I
other
mean,
than
they had an expansion that at least reviewed exceedingly well.
and they went to a bunch of studios and gave them their expertise and told them how to make a live service game, and now they're all shut down.
I know. It's been a rough road with Bungie. I'm saying that there's been a little bit of a win. There's been a little bit of a win within there, which is their own product was good since a pickup. One of them was one of the two
but
expansions.
It didn't move the needle when it comes to Destiny 2's future, though.
Yeah, totally.
Which I think is
I think
more important to Sony than it is to Bungie and the quality of their product.
I think Destiny 2 fans felt, though, at the end of that they're like, okay, Bungie can still provide a awesome experience for us. Maybe that there's a little bit more faith within that fan base, leaving that experience, leaving their Destiny 2 final experience. And so that is at least something to tote as a little bit of a win, in my opinion. But is it time, Connor?
Yeah, I could definitely see Marathon there. I don't imagine you see Marathon and Fair Games at the same thing. I think Marathon probably more likely than Fair Games, but we'll see.
Really?
Yeah.
For me, I'm like, just if Fair Games does exist, and I will never forget you saying this on the podcast after Blue Points game got canceled and everything. You're like, Fair Games has to be fucking awesome. Like the fact that this game is still existing, it must have some sort of hook that is decent,
or it's really far in development.
Close. Yeah. It's really close, and so that's why I think. Honestly, I feel like there's a better chance it's just really far in development, and that's why I feel a little bit better on it. Let's just throw out there when it comes to third party. I feel like the other one that is probably on both of our boards. It definitely was something we both thought of was Judas.
Yeah.
Could this be here? Does it like what percent are you at?
I think that it is a very likely shot to be here, and it's just a release date.
Yeah.
Like, don't show me anything else, please, Ken Levine, please. Just. Yeah. Show me a little flash of the game and then give us the release date. I don't need to see anything else. So I think I would say more likely than not, they show it here.
Obviously, it does seem like we're getting Metal Gear Solid Delta here. Does that like third party sort of slot when it comes to prestige get like? For me, it legitimately has taken away some of my hype for, or the chance of other prestige third party to step in and do something awesome like a Judas. So like, do you think that we could have something that shares the stage? Judas, Metal Gear. I feel like all these types of games were things that we brought up throughout multiple state of plays last year. Like, is it going to show up? Silent Hill 2 was like one of those other ones that was like, it's possible, but is it? What's happening here?
I'm trying to remember, like, is there any rule there?
No.
Like any consistency? Yeah. So I don't think it makes a difference for any other major third party to be there. I think they can share the stage.
All right. Yeah. Housemarque.
No, I feel like it's too soon, but I would like it. I could see them slotting into whatever I think there's one slot for a major first party announcement.
I agree.
So if it's not Sony Santa Monica, it could be Housemarque. That's possible.
I also think Insomniac is the other one.
It could be.
No,
I mean, I think you're going to list off any more studios that it's possible.
Not
Blue
really.
Point's not possible. Yeah. Ben's not possible, obviously.
We know what Dog's working on at this point. Yep. The Horizon studio isn't ready to go, I don't think, yet, when it comes to anything that they're doing.
Was it 2020?
It was 2022. So, like, it could be. We also, like, Horizon Monster Hunter is still a thing, but they obviously don't want to promote that around Monster Hunter.
You could technically reveal the next Horizon 3, but I don't know.
And
I would doubt it.
It could be GTA at this point. Gran Turismo 8.
Oh yeah,
but like
you said GTA.
No,
GT 8.
Yeah, GT 8.
Like, yeah.
But yeah, there's just not a lot when it comes to PlayStation Studios at this point that is realistic. Outside, like it's Fair Games, Marathon, Ghost. We know what Naughty Dog's working on, which once again is a decent.
Media Molecule.
Oh,
that's
dude.
very possible.
Yeah, I feel like next year is Media Molecule and Housemarque. I think that's their time to shine.
For reveals or just for coming out?
For coming out.
What about Naughty Dog?
And in Naughty Dog's 2026. Yeah.
There's a lot still out there is the thing. I know it's looking dire for PlayStation, but like even with taking Bend and Blue Point completely off the board, it's like there's still quite a few studios to go.
Well,
So,
it's gonna be interesting. We will do for a bonus pod the rest of the PlayStation generation after this. We were like, we're not gonna put it on our calendar yet. We just want to make sure it's after the state of play because obviously we're gonna get a lot of answers to what 2025 really looks like. Hopefully at this state of play. A couple more third party I just want to throw your way. Kingdom Hearts 4, yay or nay?
no.
Yeah, I'm also going to go no there. Resident Evil 9, I just want to say, yeah, I'm on the no side of that.
You're on the no side?
Of Resident Evil 9 at this point. Yeah, I'm going no.
Okay.
This is why I'm at like the 6th area where I'm just like, I could see us. The only thing that I feel like is a guarantee that we get during this state of play is Death Stranding. That's it.
Yeah. Well, and now in Metal Gear.
Oh, yeah, Metal Gear.
I mean, I just need to, once again, I know we disagree on this. This is a showcase. Like,
if it is, once again, if it is a showcase and it has the sauce that a showcase can have where we can get full reveals and not just release dates. That's the other thing. If we get Wolverine and it's just a release date trailer, it still is just a release date trailer. Like for something that we already knew about. It's the full on unknowns that truly excite me. And I feel like the full on unknowns really only existed during the showcase era when it comes to getting 2 or more. It hasn't happened yet where we really have seen that in the past few years.
So if the Resident Evil doesn't count for that, right?
Yeah.
Resident Evil, you get Death Stranding, you might get Ghost or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you get or Wolverine,
Connor,
and then you
so
get one
much
big reveal. That's a showcase.
Oh, that is what you just said, a showcase. And we get Ghost.
And that's a great presentation.
Connor, and we get Ghost and Wolverine and RE9 and Metal Gear Solid Delta and the Judy.
Real quick, let's take out it's Ghost or Wolverine, I would say. Those are both already revealed.
Okay, let's break this back down then a little bit. If it is Resident Evil 9 to open the show, there's Death Stranding 2 in there, and then we close out with the Ghost release date. That's just a phenomenal state of play. That's not a showcase to me.
I don't think that's not what I think you do those 3.
Oh, and then you're saying and one more thing?
And then one more thing, yeah.
If there are 2 major Sony, and I'm talking major, I'm talking the A tier, I'm talking about the next Housemarque game or Ghost of Yotei or even something that is truly unbelievable that we don't even know about yet.
But why would you want to do that, I think, is the question. Even with showcases, I don't think it's smart necessarily to like we kind of were just talking about like kind of owning the conversation. Do you really want like Sony Santa Monica and Wolverine Insomniac to be sharing the same stage?
Connor, I like hype.
I know you like hype, but I'm just saying for their perspective, for like what you might think of like of Sony, like of where we're at with state of plays versus showcases and what they kind of want to do with these 2 different things, that like they probably kind of just assuming here, I imagine they didn't like having to show everything all at once.
I think that it's more of what you have to show. If they have the sauce where they're like, we know that 2025 is going to have 2 major first-party games. Let's say it is Wolverine and Ghost, or maybe even 3 with something like including a marathon or fairy games in there. But you have when I say major, I mean Wolverine, I mean Ghost of Yotei. I'm not talking about something like Fair Games. To clarify, because I feel like often, like if Fair Games and Ghost of Yotei release date is shown, someone's gonna be like, Nick, you said 2 major releases is a showcase level. I'm like, no, that's not clearly what I'm talking about.
What I think the roadmap is for this: RE9, then Metal Gear Solid, which is a big deal.
It is.
Had we not gotten that spoiled for us.
I mean, had PlayStation not spoiled it for us,
maybe an Astrobot DLC.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Maybe Fair Games, and then you close it out with a reveal of some kind of Media Molecule, Housemarque, or Sony Santa Monica, and that is a great state of play.
It is funny though that you said Media Molecule, Housemarque, and Sony Santa Monica in that order where it is. I think if you get Media Molecule to close out the state of play, you and I stoked. Really excited. I think that there's gonna be people on the internet. They're just like, really, the people that made Dreams. It's gonna close
Big Planet.
So, what they would need to do, in my opinion, reverse that order. If you're gonna start the showcase with Media Molecule, get the Sony ponies excited, and then at the very end show RE9, and that's how you would close that out, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean,
yeah, that once again, great state of play, not showcase level to me though.
I understand, but like, why would you just not want 4 great state of plays throughout the year rather than one just hour-long showcase.
I want to make it very clear. I would much prefer 4 large, great state of plays where we get one major announcement and then one like major third party that blows our fucking socks off. But what ends up happening more often than not is we don't get major first party news. I feel like the last state of play was the first time that I was like, oh shit, really? Goes to Yote?
We've gotten major first, or I know that Death Stranding is technically...
Death Stranding is not first party.
I know, it's technically not first party, but it is very heavily associated with PlayStation.
Still not first party.
It literally shows PlayStation Studios at the
I
start
understand.
of it. The state of play last year, in the start of the year, Death Stranding. Then you have Astrobot. Then you have the state of play with Ghosts of Yote. Those are major announcements for all 3 of those.
I understand, but also let's back it up. The Astrobot state of play was all right. The Ghost of Yote state of play was, I don't know if you remember this that well. I rewatched this like 2 weeks ago. We were dogging on this state of play until Ghost of Yote showed up.
But that's all we really care about. No, is the big announcement.
No, I want when you say 4, what would you rather have? 4 great state of plays or a showcase? I'm saying, yeah, I would rather have 4 great state of plays. But what I don't want is last year. Last year to me was like, if we could have, last year I think I would have preferred a full-on showcase with Astrobot to start it out and Death Stranding in the middle and Ghost of Yote to close it out, and it would have been this big fucking event. It can but also we all know I love the marketing beats. I love state of plays. I love getting on the desk with you guys. But like when it comes to the marketing aspects of it, I felt like there was 3 different times last year. The first state of play was great, straight up great. Like that is when you talk about like a full great state of play, that is exactly what we're talking about. And I will even see being like, Death Stranding 2. I was like, this looks fucking unbelievable. It's arguably the greatest trailer I've ever seen in my entire life. So that was awesome. And then Fizzing to close it out and like just this mind blowing Kojima moment.
Great. Forgot about that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Then we get to the summer slate, and it was Concord and Astrobot, which once again, no matter what I thought at the time of Concord and then what Astrobot ended up being, the discourse on the internet was Concord looks lackluster, Astrobot's rad, but it's not going to sell 10 million copies. Where's the major Sony bangers? And then we got 30 minutes of toughness. I'm just going to leave it at that. And then Ghost of Yote. Those aren't a great year of state of play. So when it comes to like showcases for state of plays, I would love for this to be the cadence where the first state of play of the year really sets up the year strong and really sets up what PlayStation's portfolio is going to look like. And they come out with, like you said, it doesn't need to be all first party bangers, but the third party needs to show up, and we need at least one thing that we just go, fuck yeah.
I just refute the fact that like, I know that we ended up, it was all relative and hindsight is 2020 when it comes to looking back on like Concord and Astrobot, but like those are 2 first party major studios announcements.
I wouldn't say major
Astrobot
studios.
One game of the year. It has
so if we're gonna
universal acclaim.
You said, are we gonna look 20 like are we gonna look back at this, or are we gonna be in the timeline that we were watching it? Because at the time it was what I said, and then now if we want to take on the now spot, it is Astrobot. Let's give it all the claims, and then
it's Team Asobi, just because not a ton of people like knew about Astrobot up until that point. Now, for the next time they show up, is it a big deal, or is it
for one thing? There's
matter?
Such a large difference between us and the public consensus of like what is actually being shown. Because for us, Astro's Playroom is one of the best games ever. Like we all understand that, and we were excited about that. And so when that shows up, we're like, fuck yeah, this is gonna be awesome. We all popped huge for Astrobot.
Yes,
but the issue is that is not a major Sony first party IP and team. At the time it was not.
Yes.
Now it is, because it won Game of the Year. It is in a different league because of that acclaim. It really is. If it didn't win Game of the Year, I think it would have been like just like, yeah, it's one of the it's like if you're a Sony person, there's that it didn't sell 10 million copies is the big issue with that game. It has not reached enough people's hands for it to go and like really garner a blowing up the internet moment beyond like. I mean, like, look at It Takes Two, and that game, it's like, yeah, Hazelight's next game is a fucking awesome game, and it's going to go and garner respect, and obviously it did very well when it came to the social media space, but it's not a blow-up game. Ghost of Yote, blow-up game. Intergalactic, blow-up game. If we get a new Naughty Dog, Uncharted, Wolverine, whatever, those are the things that are like, shut the front door, batten down the hatches, a storm just came on our screen. All
Yeah,
right.
I guess I just don't really know if I care that much about the outside perspective
I don't.
rather than just like my own and like the nerd perspective. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like if you enjoy video games and are in the space who are watching our content, like and are nerds,
Totally.
Astrobot is exciting.
Yeah, Astrobot is exciting. Concord was for me exciting.
Just
And
knowing that it's a Sony first party studio going
totally
gives it a little bit of cachet.
But what I'm saying, you continuously said on this show and other shows that we're getting these. They're showcases basically. Like a state of play can be a showcase, and I just completely disagree until we get bangers consistently. The first time, what it feels like in years that we got a straight up banger out of state of play was Ghost of Yotei showing up.
I just don't think it's good for their own marketing. I don't think it's good. It's a good plan for handling your portfolio, for revealing stuff. I think this is the way to do it. I think it's smart.
I think for Sony,
and I like it.
I love it too, and I do think it is Sony. It is Sony's move. The thing that showcases to me proves is like, oh, like you have the fucking sauce to have a showcase, and I currently don't think they do. I don't think that they have the lineup. They shouldn't be doing it with the lineup of games that we just brought up.
Right. I just don't know why you would put yourself in that position to have to deal with that. You know what I mean?
I mean, you look over at Microsoft, and they're in a phenomenal position because they have enough sauce where every single year for the rest of the generation, they should have a showcase in June, and it's going to blow our fucking minds every single time.
I don't know how they continue. What are they going to just keep showing the same games over and over again until they're finally released?
Well, yeah, I think like this June showcase, I assume that we're going to get a
Perfect
deep dive
Dark
in Fable. We're going to see a release date for Perfect Dark. We're going to get Outer Worlds. It's going to get its release date. So that's the end of the year.
That sounds terrible to me, honestly.
What? You're getting release dates and
yes, I think that is a bad.
More?
I think that is a bad show. We disagree on this. Like I don't want it. Like I don't get excited for just a release
but then
date.
I think that
the developer direct I think was not good because it was just release dates and little details that I would like revealed to me in my actual gameplay experience rather than having somebody tell me like, hey, like, yeah, that's coming out this date and here's all the details about the game that would be fun to discover.
But then we're also going to get the moments during the June showcase, like Double Fine's next game, or if there's a Halo experience that's going to be out there and there's going to be more to be discussed. But like, and I mean, Gears of War Day, what does the gameplay look like there? Like that type of stuff, there's more to show.
For what Xbox has left to show that would be exciting is a new Halo game. Gears gameplay would be exciting. I don't want to see any more of Perfect Dark. Do not care to see any more of that. Don't care. I kind of want to see Fable because they haven't shown any gameplay of it, which is wild. So yeah, I do want to see Fable. But then like, what else? State of Decay, I guess, would be interesting to see.
I want gameplay.
In Exile is in a weird spot with Clockwork Revolution where they did show in-game stuff for that.
Yeah, that's gonna be soon. I guess I would sold on that game.
I would like to see
Everwild. Is that what that game
never
exists?
coming out? So I guess that's fair. I guess it's really just Perfect Dark that I have a big hang up on. That
Because we've already seen so much of it.
I don't need to see anything.
Or we've seen enough now where it is, we've seen gameplay, just give us a date for it.
Exactly.
Connor, we're going to close out the state of play talk here, but yes or no finale. Wolverine, yes or no?
No.
I'm going to go with no. Yes, it is. Yeah.
I was going to say, it's your prediction.
Well, because I think that there's a 40% chance we get Wolverine. Mm-hmm. I think that there's a 10% chance it is Venom or something else unannounced, or 20% that it's that other thing. But yeah, that makes sense to me. So 60% total, it's gonna happen. Wolverine's at 40. No,
yeah.
Unannounced Insomniac game.
No.
I'm gonna lean no. Let's go Hollow Knight Silksong.
No.
Connor.
No shot.
I agree. No shot. Especially with the marketing team coming out as recently as they did. They would have just kept their peeps shut at that point if it were this soon. Can you imagine? Would break the internet. Let's close it out with some greatness. Last of Us 3.
No.
Intergalactic.
No.
Persona 6.
No.
Kingdom Hearts 4.
No.
Fair Games.
Yes.
GTA 6.
It's possible.
BioShock 4.
No.
Borderlands 4.
No.
I'm going to say yes for Borderlands 4. I think this is where it gets its date. It needs a date. Or actually, rein it back in. I'm disagreeing with myself. That's a Keeley event. That's SGF, and then they release it in the summer. And then let's close it out with IOI's 007 game.
No. What about Jason Blundell?
Oh, I didn't even have I don't have Deviation because it's no longer Deviation.
Yeah.
Studios on this list. I'm gonna add it.
You also have the multiple Bungie studios that started under PlayStation.
Yeah,
They're not getting ready to go.
they're not ready to go,
I think
but
we need to start
do you think-
talking about. There's other studios under PlayStation that we just don't even know about. We don't have a name for them or anything.
I could see Blundell showing up.
Yeah, me too.
That would be a great way to start out a showcase.
Yeah.
Or a state of play. I think that's a great win.
You could talk about the rumored Uncharted game.
Yep.
The
Well,
millionth time.
that's the unannounced Uncharted is.
Okay.
Yeah. I could see it. Let's break this down though real quick. Let's close it out here. There are so many questions to be answered. There's so many games that don't have dates. There are so many, like, we do not know what PlayStation's year is at all at this point.
Right.
So there is a ton of potential energy for this showcase. With that being said, for the first time in a while, I'm going into a state of play being like, I don't know if it's going to outright deliver because like when you discuss like dates for things, like Death Stranding to me is the greatest trailer I've ever seen, but a game I don't really want to play for the first one. So like that is going to be like just getting a date for that, unless it's accompanied by another sick ass trailer, is going to be like
it's the same conversation we just had about Perfect Dark. I am like the biggest Death Stranding fan. Don't want to see anything for it anymore. This trailer is not going to get me excited in any additional capacity. It's just spoilers at this point. The release date is nice, but it's not exciting.
Pragmata, last one I'll throw in there.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I could see that happening.
Yeah, it's not happening. So a lot of potential energy, but running through this, I feel like it is going to be hopefully a phenomenal showcase. Like I think that there's a chance for that. I'm just leaning on the side of caution, which I normally get really excited. Ask me Thursday before this gets in, like I assume the state of play is normally announced the day before. So if it is on Friday, ask me on Thursday what I'm thinking, because I might be drinking the Kool-Aid at that point, getting really hyped up and getting stoked on this. But like I think at this point I'm at like a 6 out of 10. Like I just don't see this like delivering that major pop moment for me yet.
If we leave this with Astrobot DLC, Resident Evil 9, Death Stranding 2 release date, one first party announcement. Did I put Metal Gear in there?
Oh no, you didn't.
And Metal Gear Solid. That is a excellent.
That is a 9 out of 10. Amazing for me.
You removed the one big thing.
That is an 8 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
Yeah, 7.58.
If that's what we're talking about, I feel like that's almost guaranteed.
Here's the thing: the big one that you said there was
RE9.
Resident Evil 9.
Yeah.
Like it's like you going and be like, yeah, we're going to get the a top 10 most exciting thing out there for me right now. Possibility, sure, yeah.
If
that
it's
would be
not
awesome.
Resident Evil 9, it's something else. You know what I mean? Then it's Kingdom
Connor,
Hearts 4.
If it's not Resident Evil 9, what if it's Fair Games that kicks off the show?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's where my fear's at. Where it's like, what if it's fair? There is a world. It is that we get the release date for Death Stranding in the middle of the showcase. We get Metal Gear Solid in the middle of the showcase, but they start out with Fair Games and they end with Marathon. There is that world, and for me, that would be disastrous.
Yeah, that would be. But they wouldn't do two
live service for state of play.
Exactly. And I think you started with Resident Evil 9. You could close it out with Returnal 2. I could see them doing that. Do we know that they're working on a new IP?
No,
they said that.
I do not currently know. Let us know in the comments what they're currently working on.
Yeah,
I assume it's something new. Though.
We're gonna be having this debate about state of play versus showcases for the rest of our lives.
Yep. Welcome to the internet, Connor.
Yeah.
All right. Story number 2: Grand Theft Auto 6 is on track to release in fall 2025. Take-Two says. This is Chris Scullion over at VGC. Quote. During an investor presentation discussing its Q3 earnings for the financial year 2025, the publisher confirmed that the game is still listed as launching fall of calendar 2025. It is also said Borderlands 4 is still planned to release this year. Take-Two hasn't given more concrete release date for either game, however, which may prove frustrating for other publishers who are reportedly deciding not to nail down release dates for their own products so as not to clash with the release of Grand Theft Auto 6. Quote, we forecast that calendar year 2025 will be an inflection point for Take-Two, end quote, the publisher wrote in a statement. quote, from groundbreaking releases of Grand Theft Auto in the fall to unmatched pipeline that 2K is set to deliver, including Civilization 7 on February 11th, Mafia: The Old Country in the summer, and Borderlands 4. End quote. Connor, when do we hear next about GTA 6?
June.
June showcase season?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the lead up at this point is the Fallout 4 lead up.
I fully agree.
Yeah, where you get they teased it, right? And then they said we're gonna do like a full breakdown at their showcase, the Bethesda showcase for Fallout 4.
Yes, well, for Fallout 4. When you said they teased it, I was like, is he talking about GTA 6? Yes, for Fallout 4.
And then it released in November.
Yep.
And I think that obviously they teased it way earlier for GTA. And we haven't heard for a while, but they know that they don't need to show it until they're ready to go. And you show it in June, you show it tomorrow, you show it 5 days before release. It doesn't make a difference. It's going to sell the same amount no matter what. You might as well have some good polish on it, have a good one and only outing, I think, is all they really need of like gameplay breakdown to show off this game, and then you release it in the fall. So
yeah, I agree. I think that this is pretty damn good confirmation that they're really sticking with fall. There was a line where it's like it could slip, as any game could. With that being said, it goes back to story number one. This is why I'm like, we're not getting Ghost of Yotei out of the state of play. They are not putting a release date on Ghost of Yotei for the fall,
right.
Or if it is November, if it is September, even if it's late August, I would be like, nah, we'll see what GTA is doing, and we are going 2 months after or 2 months before when it comes to our major IP. If you are setting out a game right now, 45 days in front of, if it is a beefier game, or more importantly, 45 days behind within 45 days of GTA 6, you are letting that game go out there and die. I mean that in the nicest way possible. If you have the best fucking game ever, it is still just simply not the time to release a title. And that is terrifying. If I'm Sony, that state of play, all of our first party titles, unless you are something a little bit more niche like a Fair Games, I would even say Marathon, I would not put a release date on. I'm not release dating anything. If it is scheduled for the fall, I'm saying fall. You are not getting a strong concrete date out of me until I hear Take-Two say, hey, this is the release date for GTA 6.
Yeah, I think this game could easily slip into next year, and it would still be on their books for that fiscal year, so it wouldn't matter really at the end of the day for Take-Two. And when it comes to other developers putting their release dates out, you can push it whenever you get the release date from GTA, whenever you feel like it. You know what I mean? I feel like gamers are pretty receptive at this point to being like, yeah, we're just gonna kick that down the line. And if it's coming out around GTA and you're like, we're looking at the landscape of the games industry, and we decided that we're gonna push this to next year, everyone know what you're talking about, and everyone would understand.
Everyone would be like,
fine, yeah,
respect.
That makes perfect sense. So I think GTA is a very unique situation where stuff can be shuffled around it's pretty easily. So.
It's necessary. I think that is the big point at this point. I think that a large reason we didn't see the full slate from Xbox games was we don't have a GTA 6 release date. Mm-hmm. I think that a reason that we're not going to see the full slate of PlayStation games when it comes to first party, and that's why I'm like, I don't know if we get the big one more thing moment from a PlayStation first party at this point, is GTA 6. I don't have like a ton more to talk about on this one, but it was an interesting thing to go and read this and be like, how obviously GTA is going to be big. It's going to be huge. It's going to blow up the entire industry. This game, when you were talking about like, we just want people to play PS5s, we're just running the race of the PS5s. This is, in my opinion, it is not a PlayStation first party game, and it's not the fact that it's not coming out on PC. It's going to move so many PS5s, and this is going to be the game that people are playing on their PS5 nonstop.
They also have the marketing, apparently.
It is such a huge win for PlayStation in their books. That's the other thing where it's like, maybe you don't want to go and release Ghost in general this year, just because you already have such a major win with on just your income statement from GTA 6 when you are PlayStation and Xbox. It will obviously help move some Xbox, and it will help go and have people that have Xbox play more Xbox, and that's how they're going to buy their whatever shark card money is through Xbox. But it is, when it comes to PlayStation at this point, with all the marketing beats being, hey, there's not a ton of reasons to buy an Xbox right now, people are going to buy so many PS5s for this fucking game if it comes out this fall.
Mhm.
All right. Let's move on to story number 3. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater release date leaks via PSN. This is Jordan Miller over at VGC. Quote, the trailer, which is currently visible on the PlayStation Store page for the remake, shows that the game will be released on August 28th. According to the page, the game will be PS5 Pro enhanced. The trailer also confirms that the Snake vs. Monkey mode from the original game will make a return in the remake, end quote. What a bummer this is to get it a week before a potential state of play. Because it is leaked. We did our own personal research being like, is this on any store pages or anything? No, and it's not. And
Yeah.
so it's like,
I mean, you know how I feel about release dates. So,
Yeah.
like, this wouldn't have really moved the needle for the state of play for me at all, but it's cool. August. Yeah, great.
I think it
Makes
would,
sense.
for me, it moves the needle of just like, this is another fun one to have in there that like, it pops up and we're like, yeah, like I'm always excited to see a little bit more Snake Eater, but it is the thing where it's not going to be new information that really gets me going 100%.
The inclusion of the Ape Escape mission or whatever it is, I think that would have been exciting.
Yeah, that would have
people,
been cool.
generally speaking.
And that's the tough part with this stuff, man, where it's like these marketing teams are just trying to hit their marketing beats and just like allow these trailers to be cool and exciting for new players and old players. I went and I saw the trailer like booting up all over on social media. And I was like, nope, I will watch this trailer for the first time during the state of play and I will be excited about it. But the sad part is that release date for me would have been pretty exciting because of course I expected it a little bit sooner, around a May or even in April. But like the fact that it's not November, the fact that they feel confident to put this game out this year, and also this is the first date that we get to put on the calendar that is in that second half of the year, and people have to start working around something like a Metal Gear Solid Delta. The other thing, like we just said with GTA 6, it's not going to be in the GTA 6 timeline, baby. We're going to be able to enjoy and play Metal Gear Solid Delta and not have to worry about this bomb dropping that is GTA 6. I do think is very, very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, Monster Hunter February, Death Stranding May, June, Metal Gear Solid August. Then maybe you get ahead of GTA and put out Ghost in September, October. Astrobot DLC somewhere in there. Fair Games maybe somewhere in there. And then you close out the year with GTA. That is, whether you like it or not, a pretty solid year for PlayStation.
I think that this year we've said it for a long time. What is this year in PlayStation? It is Death Stranding and Ghost of Yotei.
Yeah.
And if they are able to get Yotei out just a little bit earlier, if they're able to get Yotei out in September, huge fucking win for them.
Right.
Because then it is really just rolling out the red carpet for GTA 6, letting them go and have every single major headline. But like you said, they're in the business of time, my friend. And if they're spending every 2 months, there's another game that you're playing on your PlayStation and you're buying copies for PlayStation, is a win for that.
And then when it comes to the fan base too, like a lot of people who play on Xbox, they say over and over again they love Game Pass. And if you're playing a game on Xbox, you're not thinking of like, oh, it's available somewhere else, I'm having less fun on it. It's like you just want a game that makes you feel like you're getting value out of the console that you purchase. And that is what this slate is. Even though it's not all first party, it's like that's what I'm talking about. Like if I'm playing Monster Hunter on my PS5, I feel like I'm getting my money's worth because I'm getting PS5 Pro enhancements on my console or whatever. And that's exciting.
I mean, the other part is the PS5 Pro enhancements for Snake Eater. Excited. We already knew that. That was part of the PS5 Pro trailer, right?
Yep.
And so it is exciting.
It's all... I mean, this is what I said when I came to the review. It's just going to be a time will tell type of situation. But for this year, Monster Hunter, PS5 Pro Enhanced, then you have probably Death Stranding. You would have to imagine has to be PS5 Pro Enhanced. You have to imagine every Sony first or second party game.
Yeah, they're trying to push
That's
that.
what we've seen so far with like kind of them going into the back catalog with games like Stellar Blade and Rise of the Ronin have PS5 enhancements. Then you have Metal Gear Solid and then you have GTA, which is like, yeah, that makes me feel a little bit better about my PS5 Pro.
Do you think GTA is going to be PS5 Pro enhanced?
1,000%. Is it going to run at 60 frames per second? Absolutely not. Is it going to look better? Is it going to be... Where are you going to be able to play GTA 6 with the best visuals? It will be on PS5 Pro at launch because it's not coming to PC at launch.
Yep. Next news story. We got a little bit of a Nintendo rock block. Let's start out with in my opinion, the most easy news to just get out of the way. Headline: the Switch 2 Nintendo Direct now has a time as well as a date. This is Wesley Inpool over at IGN. Quote: the Switch 2 Nintendo Direct now has a time as well as a date. 6 a.m. PT on Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025. That is 9 a.m. ET and 2 p.m. UK time. Nintendo has said it will use this Nintendo Direct to share a closer look at Switch 2 following its drive-by reveal of the console last month. Well, we can close it there, Connor. It is because the story goes on to talk about mystery buttons and the way that the controller might be used. Let's just talk about what Wesley is discussing right here. We have the time. The table is set, my friend. April 2nd. Does it feel soon? Does it feel far away, first and foremost? And then let's break down how batshit insane 9 a.m. is for a Nintendo Direct.
It does feel far away. These months have been going very slowly so far in 2025. And 9 a.m. is early, is a little odd. But when you look at when the Switch 2 was revealed, which was 8 a.m.,
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I guess they're just wanting to go early. I guess it's probably best for like a worldwide audience, you'd have to imagine. So, yeah, makes sense.
It's funny when we did Co-op 64 Day, I was like, oh, this is great for everyone except for the West Coast. Like that, it really is. Like it works well with Europe and like for us, 9 a.m. is start of the workday and everything. And we're going to be going all in, it seems. For you, me, Brady will all be obviously reaction to that. There'll be, I assume, some sort of post-game breakdown of discussing what we saw. But like this is going to be a full tilt of one of the biggest days, not only in our company's history of just like the amount of coverage and obviously waking up early and getting these reactions up on time, but this is like one of the biggest days in the game's industry history. Like and like that level of excitement of a console launch event, the way it's so funny looking back to the Nintendo Switch 1 event and being like, holy shit, people were not happy about this one bit at all.
Yeah.
And to now look back and be like, well, they showed two of the highest games ever on Metacritic in one showcase with Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey. Where's your hype level 2 months out? Just give me a broad
For
number.
the Direct?
Yeah.
10.
Yeah. Right?
Like, I feel like they can't fuck it up.
Yep.
Like, there's no shot. Like, it feels like they've been holding back for years, that they have to be ready to go with a shit ton of hype and a shit ton of trailers for the launch of this console. And even if they don't show them all in this, you have to imagine Animal Crossing is right around the corner. Fire Emblem is right around the corner. Metroid Prime 2 is right around the corner, and 4, and that might be a Switch 1 reveal or whatever, as we might
we'll talk about it in a moment.
You have Smash Bros, which is potentially Sakurai was talking about it today on Twitter. Apparently, it's like, okay, like yeah, the dominoes are all in place. Like we'll see which cards they reveal, but there's no shot that it's bad. like Master Chief Collection could be there. PlayStation games could be there. Like, you just don't know.
Damn it. It was one of my questions looking there. Do we see any Xbox games at the State of Play?
Yes.
You think that this we're going to get a trailer for something like a Master Chief State of Play?
State of Play. Sorry, yes. My bad. No.
Okay, I agree.
Well, there's rumors about Starfield.
Yeah, Starfield. There's rumors like we could see the Indiana Jones release date trailer, because we still don't know when that's coming.
It's just embarrassing for Xbox. You shouldn't do that. Don't only give your games to PlayStation, but give them like a marketing beat for your games.
No, but that allows them to make more money. If you're going to send them over, you want the marketing beat. You want to make more money.
Do it the way that they did it with Forza. Why would you put it in a State of Play?
They want to go and get more money from the PlayStation audience.
I do not think that it matters when it comes to releasing the game. For it to be an Xbox game at a State of Play is embarrassing for them to like give them that win. The
win is already gone, Connor. The win is already gone.
It is worse to have pomp and circumstance around your reveals for your games coming to PS5.
They want the pomp and circumstance for those games, though, it's seemingly.
We just saw that they don't.
Oh, well, I mean, we've also seen that they do with Indiana Jones. That was a marketing beat.
At a Keighley event. Yeah. Not at a State of Play. Putting a Sony logo before like an Xbox game is just weird. Like it's
gonna happen soon.
They are competitors. They are still, in some capacity. I think they're running different races, but they're still competing in races. You know
gonna
what I mean?
happen soon.
They're fighting the same in the same sport.
Next news story: Nintendo Switch 2. I want to actually run this back real quick. I'm so excited that it is early in the morning, though. Because the night before and throughout that entire day, I would not be able to like do anything or focus on anything else when it comes to this Switch 2 event. When you said 10, yeah, I'm also out of 10. Everyone's out of 10.
Yeah.
This is gonna be the biggest fucking moment this year. But I personally, the gamer that I am, the gamer that you are, we are more excited for Switch 2 shit than GTA 6. I know that that's like
100%
insane for a lot of people to hear, but I'm excited for GTA 6. You want to know what I'm more excited for? A lot more other video games. Like we're going to be getting a shitload of video games. And the coolest part is we're finally going to get an answer to the question of what the fuck are we doing 3D Mario at this state of play.
GTA 6 will move off my top 10 most anticipated after the state of play. I would guarantee it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
All right. Next news story: Nintendo Switch 2 JoyCon features confirmed in new patent. This is Matt Kim at IGN. This is a long one, just a heads up. Quote, the Nintendo Switch 2 looks mighty familiar, but Nintendo seems to have saved all of its biggest changes for the Joy-Cons as shown by some new patents. While we still don't have an official confirmation from Nintendo, reports came out saying that the Switch 2 Joy-Cons would now attach magnetically and could even be used like a computer mouse. These changes are now all but confirmed thanks to a series of patents filed by Nintendo that detail the magnetic attachments and mouse-like features. According to the patents, quote, the game controller is detachable, mounted to a body device that has a recess that comprises a first magnet and a second magnet that at the bottom of the recess and that can execute gaming processing, end quote. The patent also details that there are two buttons that must be pressed to detach the Joy-Cons from the Switch 2's body. The first button and the second button are provided in the longitudinal direction in the top surface of the protrusion. The patent says the first button and the second button are to be pressed by the user. The first button is attracted to the first magnet by a magnetic force. The second button is attracted to a second magnet by a magnetic force. Now to the meat and potatoes. Quote, the patent also includes illustrations of the Joy-Cons being used as a mouse with the player holding the controller rail side down and treating the shoulder buttons like a mouse button. The R1 and R2 buttons act like the left and right mouse buttons, respectively, and there might be some kind of scrolling function when using the joysticks. End quote.
I understood like very little of what you just said, except for the last bit about it being a mouse.
Basically, there's two. Instead of sliding with one button, it seems like the magnet's going to be using two different buttons to go in unattached. You're going to have to press two things to get the Joy-Con off, which in my opinion,
Gotcha.
The big fear of like how secure this thing is going to be, which once again, I don't understand why this is like tough for people to like realize. If you look at it, people are like, oh, there's people are going to like rip the Joy-Cons off or whatever. Isn't that like the same with the Switch 1? Where like, if you really want to, you can fucking rip them off.
If you, with the thing that is jutting out of the Switch, if you bend it like that, like kind of rip that way, you could see that snapping. Yes,
I understand, but like I'm looking at that Switch right now, and Connor, if I want to break that Switch and do something stupid like ripping it in a way that is going to be like snappable, I can do that with the rail sliding there. That's just a little piece of plastic that's really holding that in. There's nothing that's like actually more concrete with it. I think but it goes back to the thing of like, if you want to break the Switch 2, you're going to be able to break the Switch 2 when it comes to doing that. I don't think it's going to happen haphazardly with these confirmations of like the magnets are coming in from two folds. You need to like really like go and use multiple functions to get them off in the first place, which I think is a little bit more convoluted, but obviously with the new tech, they want to make sure that these Joy-Cons are good to go.
I'm not too concerned about it. I'm just saying that I think it's a potential for hardware failure. But when it comes to the mouse thing, it's like, okay. So like back touchpad type experiences, motion controls. Like, I don't know how much of a use case there is for this on the Switch 2, but Nintendo likes to have weird shit in their consoles, and I feel like this is like one of the only directions they could go, just to have something weird with a Switch successor that is so safe that they're like, oh look, we have something different, and we're gonna use it for the first year for some mini games and Mario Party, and then it goes away completely.
I just want a written apology letter from all the people that said Switch 2 is just a Switch Pro. There's nothing new. I miss creative Nintendo. Where's Nintendo being creative? They used to be creative. They don't do anything. They're doing nothing new. I'm pissed. This has been discourse that I have seen, read, and listened to for the past month of people being off their rocker about how upset they are that this is a Switch Pro.
I don't think the narrative would change with this, personally.
I think that this absolutely is a brand new way to utilize a controller. This is such a batshit insane thing that this is now going to be a controller for the Switch.
I understand what you're saying, that I think that in premise, yes, it's weird, but in practice, I don't know how much is going to be used for it to really like end up being a thing. It's not like the Wii U where you're required to use the gamepad, which like is a core feature. I bet you Mario Kart's not going to use this.
Yeah.
3D Mario isn't going to use this. Zelda isn't going to use this. You want to know
what's going to use it?
What?
Mario Paint. That's going to release day one with the Switch.
No
it's going to
shot.
happen.
No shot.
Pizza bet. We get Mario Paint shown at that
donut bet.
Donut bet.
Yeah, sure. I'll take
All right,
that.
write it down. But yeah, I think that we're going to get that. And then you're right. There's going to be some sort of Mario Party function with the JoyCons. But it's weird because that's going to be later in the life cycle. You assume 3 years from last year because it's every 3 years for Mario Party. It seems.
Oh, is it?
So like if that is the case, then it's going to be some time. Hey, Connor, you might be able to like go and click and pick up a Pokeball or something in a Pokemon game.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be utilization of it, but is it going to be necessary or in your face to really kind of have this be the thing that is associated with the console where like the Wii is motion controls, the Wii U is the gamepad, but the Switch 2 is the portability.
So
the Switch 1 is the portability.
But let's back it up. People are saying just in general, Nintendo does new and exciting things with their hardware, and they're saying forever. So NES to SNES is basically just a step up, but SNES to N64, the big switch there was a controller. The big switch here for Switch 1 to Switch 2 is the controller. Like, it's not a perfect one-to-one, but it is something that I'm like, they're doing something, which I personally, I've said it all the time. I don't want them to do anything different. Right. I just want a Switch that's more powerful, that can play more cool games, and let's reload on that first-party software. But there are many people on the internet that are just freaking want to be upset about things, and I'm just like, come on, dude, let's relax, let's have a good time. This is good news to me, in my opinion, where it's just like, I
wish they weren't doing this. Personally, I wish there was just a Switch 2.
I think that there's gonna be no games that force you to play with the mouse.
We shall see.
Well, Mario Paint would be something like that. You are, the point of it is to play with the mouse. Something like,
maybe I don't wish they weren't doing it.
But like,
if you can get Counter-Strike going on it or Valorant and people enjoy that way of playing it, it's like, okay, sure, I guess.
But
put
also
the resources
something like Civ 7, where you're clicking and like that works there.
I mean, it works with a controller.
Yeah,
already,
but like for the people that want it, Baldur's Gate 3. I think that a lot of people are like, oh, like you got to just play it on keyboard and mouse, and a large part of that just clicking and pointing. Maybe that's something that they want to show off. I think that there's like use cases for it, especially once again on the go with a mouse. That's a pretty tantalizing like proposition when it is, hey, you can do this for $400, or you can have a laptop that is a gaming laptop that's like $1,500. Yeah, sure,
right,
$400. Why not? Last Nintendo story, yes, Metroid Prime 4 is still coming out in 2025. This is Darren Bontis over at GameSpot. Quote, Metroid Prime fans are a patient lot, and after almost a decade of waiting, 2025 looks like it will be the year. Nintendo confirmed that this year will be a big one, as not only will the Switch 2 console launch, but the long in development Metroid Prime 4 Beyond will be one of the several tentpole games released in 2025 as well. While it doesn't have an exact date yet, Nintendo did confirm in a financial result for the first 9 months of its latest fiscal year that Metroid Prime 4 is one of the big 4 first-party 2025 release, is alongside the recently released Donkey Kong Country Returns, the Xenoblade Chronicles, Donkey Kong Country Returns, Xenoblade Chronicles X on March 20th, and Pokemon Legends Op, end quote. So we're getting Metroid. It seems like it's going to be Switch 1. Where do you stand with this one, Con?
Yeah, I think it's definitely Switch 1. I think this is probably the swan song, and I do think it gets a port to Switch 2 where it looks even better. But I think that there was never an indication to me personally that it was not going to be this year. just because it was shown last year and we haven't heard anything from it since then.
Yeah.
Was that like I assumed that it was going to hit this year, but it's good to get confirmation that it's happening.
It feels right that it's happening. The question of like, is it cross-plat day one and everything? Does it come out the same day that the Switch 2 comes out? That's yet to be seen. I think that that's a more exciting release for this game. If it were, hey, day and date, you're getting Mario Kart 9 and Metroid Prime. I think that's a huge release and would be fucking awesome.
I think it would be good, but do you think it kind of gets overshadowed by a 3D Mario launching on the same day as it? You know what I mean?
The question is, do we get 3D Mario on the same day as it? And I don't think we do.
I don't think you launch the console with Metroid and Mario Kart. I don't think that's enough.
I'm so excited to go and do our Switch 2 predictions. I assume that it's gonna be casual gaming conversation, the full-on lengthy long shot, and then we'll do a rundown of will it, won't they for an episode, and then we're gonna do a betting special for bonus pod.
Right.
And just hearing what this lineup is going to be for you and everything, and like how this showcase is going to build out, I am so excited for. Honestly, maybe during the casual gaming conversation, we get the big whiteboard out. We plan this whole motherfucker out. We both give our entire slate of how this whole thing's going to go down.
With just the direct, or like for the rest of the entire Switch 2 generation?
Because the direct, I feel like, is such a interesting conversation. The last detail that we don't have about this direct is how long it is. Right. Other than that, we know everything about it, but that we're going to know until they go and present.
How long do you think it is?
45 minutes.
I was going to say 40.
Yeah. Let me look up how long the first one was. But
wait, the presentation, the stage presentation?
Yeah.
I feel like you can't go off of that.
I don't know. Why not?
Because it's a stage presentation.
But
the flow of that is like so different.
It is different. But
directs are so punchy. You know what I mean?
It is. An hour, 6 minutes. So yeah, 45 minutes feels about right because you're going to have a lot less people talking, but it's going to be more game focused. There's going to be people talking in this direct more than any other direct we've ever seen, though. Yeah. I guarantee that, basically, because they need to break down what functionality there is in general. I assume that, like,
I think you do that with a game like you did with 1-2 Switch. You know what I mean?
Like, you're just showing off the game and everything. And
so 1-2 Switch is shown, and they're like HD rumble, and they're moving the stuff around, and in the JoyCon, it's like that's how you kind of present the features of the console.
I think that the best way to do that with
you're gonna say Mario Paint.
Well, Mario Paint is a great one. The other one is Metroid Prime 4. To be like if you're pointing and clicking and playing an FPS that is first party,
I
like
guess
that makes a shit ton of sense to me of why people would want that. Am I gonna play Metroid Prime 4 that way? Fuck no. Yeah. Not a chance.
See, it's just a weird situation where it's like, I just don't know who this is for.
I will say, if Baldur's Gate 3 was on the Switch and I really was just like, hey, like, for some reason, if we were flying to Japan, I'm like, I'll download it and I would play it that way. Right. Like, on my Switch, I would play with the Switch 2. I would play with the mouse compatibility. So, like, there's something there, but, like, yeah, most games I'm not going to want to do that. It doesn't really make sense for me. Do we want to move on to the last one?
Let's do it.
Connor, the last news story for you. Rocksteady reportedly working on single-player Batman game, Monolith Productions Wonder Woman in trouble. This is Wesley Ianpool over at IGN. Quote, during the financial call, Zavlov said Warner Brothers was doubling down on just 4 games. Hogwarts Legacy, a sequel, is already in the works, in parentheses, Mortal Kombat, Game of Thrones, and DC, in particular Batman. We are focusing on our development efforts on those core franchises with proven studios to improve our success ratio, Zaslav added. But it may be sometime before fans see the results of this work. Bloomberg said Monolith Productions' Wonder Woman game is in trouble after reportedly rebooting and switching directors early last year. It already cost more than $100 million and is still years away from release, Bloomberg added. Monolith reimagines Nemesis system. It developed the much-loved Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor and a sequel that would see Wonder Woman befriending enemies has been ditched in favor of a more traditional action-adventure game. Its fate remains in question. That is in quotes. Fans of Rocksteady will be excited to hear that the studio is looking to return to the Batman for a single-player game, though that is also in quotes. According to Bloomberg, it is years away. There is no word in Bloomberg's report on what's next from NetherRealm. By the way, Wesley did a phenomenal write-up. This is like such a great deep dive. Highly recommend going over to IGN, giving this one a full read-through if you are curious about everything that's happening with Rocksteady, because this is, in my opinion, the whole game plan. This is Rocksteady's state of play. This is Rocksteady's entire like playbook that they're going to be running basically for the next 4 years.
You mean WB's?
Sorry, WB. Yes, WB's playbook, and then obviously with what Rocksteady will be working on, it seemingly is single player Batman. We're going back to Arkham. Connor, what does this do for you?
Crazy that Wonder Woman game, they put $100 million into it already and are basically restarting. Those rumors of this game being in trouble that were squashed last year, I think, where people are like, no, it's still happening and it's fine. That seems like it's just a complete lie.
Yeah.
That like at the very least, it was still happening. There was some truth to that, but
It
like,
was not fine.
It was not okay. They should probably scrap it. I would imagine, like, if it's just not working and like the whole premise of the game that you had originally set out to make is something that you're just going in a complete direction of and trying to make something just more straightforward, I just don't know if it's a good thing to just keep pursuing this and keep dumping money into it. I just don't know how big a Wonder Woman game would be. I would be excited to play it. I think like a straightforward like Arkham style Wonder Woman game sounds interesting, but I don't know if it's fool's gold to just keep pumping money into something that clearly has had a myriad of issues. Rocksteady going back to Arkham, going back to Batman, not necessarily Arkham. It would be cool to see like a Robert Pattinson style Batman game. I think they should make their own universe though, generally speaking. But yeah, I'm excited about that. I think that is the move that they should have made after Arkham Knight. That they should have either there's rumors of a Superman game, which I fundamentally don't think is possible to work. Like I don't think that game can be fun. Personally, I think Superman's like an interesting character, but like in video game form, I just don't know how that works. I think the idea of like Batman Beyond is a really cool idea, like something a little bit more animated or stylized. I think there was rumors about them doing something with that, and that clearly, obviously, they moved on to Suicide Squad instead. So I'm excited that they're moving back towards that direction. Hogwarts Legacy 2 is going to be absolutely massive.
Yep.
That game sold so well, which is crazy.
It's Harry Potter, dude.
Yeah, no, it's not crazy that it sold well. It's crazy that like how well it sold. Like it was huge.
It was in like the top 20 this year.
Yeah,
right.
Which is wild. And then NetherRealms be cool. They already said that they're not doing Injustice.
Yep.
Right. So
I believe so.
Don't make another Mortal Kombat next, please. Go make something interesting. Go make a new franchise. Like
I want Mortal Kombat 2.
Why? I feel like people are sick of Mortal Kombat at this point.
I think that right now the fighting game space is at a brilliant fever pitch where a lot of franchises are just nailing it. Like they're just fucking crushing it. And Mortal Kombat 1 was another one of those things where it's like Mortal Kombat 1, it's a great fucking game.
Yeah, but people don't talk highly about it today.
Here's the thing though, they need obviously there's issues happening with WB games. They just need like wins in general. I'm going to Ed Boon. What's up? Mortal Kombat. Like
I think you could use the NetherRealm name, the Ed Boon cachet, and make a new IP. I think that's the shtick with Mortal Kombat is it's done. Like the fatalities, the blood, the over the topness. I think a lot of people are just like, we've seen it. How many different ways can you see somebody's head get ripped off?
A lot.
For it to be that, like, we've been doing this since the 90s. Is it really that exciting at this point?
It's still
of a premise?
So fun.
Is it though?
It's
I mean,
so fun.
I believe that there are people who agree with you. Definitely, obviously, but like, I just don't get it anymore. That you have to like go do something else, do something exciting, something new. You obviously have the WB IPs that you could do something with, but don't make Multiverses 2, obviously.
Well, that's the other part where it's just like I think that if I'm running WB, I'm telling everyone do what works.
Yeah,
keep it simple,
I
stupid.
do.
Yeah.
I do understand that mentality. Rocksteady, go make Batman. That will make money. NetherRealms, go make
I would
Mortal
say
Kombat.
make
That
Mortal
makes
Kombat.
money.
Yeah.
Avalanche, I believe, is the name of the
Yes.
studio.
Make Harry
Hogwarts
Potter.
Legacy did great. Make another Harry Potter game. It's like those are guaranteed wins for the studio as long as they're not live service
Yeah.
games. Then they're probably going to be good. So yeah, I think you're right that
Well,
it is smart for them to
the-
do that.
the other
And
part-
I don't want them to do Mortal Kombat, but I think that if I had to place a bet, it's Mortal Kombat.
The other part is they need to go and recoup the funding that they're currently bleeding from this Wonder Woman game and be like, hey, let's take some of this profit that we're making and make sure
Yeah.
that we're able to continue to fund this.
I
and
could see that
get this
game
game out the door.
I think that game probably eventually comes out and is like a 12-hour first. I was gonna say first person, single player, just straightforward experience, like where it's kind of like a Devil May Cry type game. You know what I mean? Just an
dude.
action game.
I would love that. Like I think that Wonder Woman with the Nemesis system was a super cool idea. But the first word that comes to mind isn't cool. It's ambitious. Like it is. That's gonna be tough to fucking pull off. It's one of those moments that you kind of just are like, hey, you gotta trust the team. They know what they're fucking doing over there, right? And it seemingly they did not have a good grasp on like how to make that game and actually deliver that. Which once again, hella ambitious. Good, nice trying, but let's now get to let's get this game out the door. Let's make it fun. Prioritize having these action combat systems being awesome. Let's not worry about lasso of truth in people and everything and making decisions on whether they're good or bad or whatever. Let's just go forward with a normal ass Wonder Woman game.
I want to say on the Nemesis system, I've never played the Shadow of Mordor, Shadow War games. Not a big Lord of the Ring guy, but people have been talking about that Nemesis system for so long as this like great, really cool thing. Never gotten it. Never thought that sounds fun. Like cool, I guess. Like I don't get it.
Yeah,
it's gone completely over my head.
It's
but
cool.
people love it. So yeah,
it does seem cool to me, but it's not like a must-have. You want to know what is a must-have though?
What, Nick?
The dearly beloved membership over on Patreon. If you want to go and have your name read out at the end of every single podcast we do here over at Co-op64, consider going over to Patreon and signing up for that dearly beloved membership. This month for February includes amazing supporters like Dinkelberg,
Senshuro,
Wonder JG,
Ganache,
Neutral Sphere,
Outtree,
Charlie W,
Spriggs,
Bag of Soup,
Calvin M,
Nuke This Kingdom,
Crispy,
DJ Zach B,
JC,
Uli,
Jacob D,
Brian VD,
Big Mac,
Metal Nate,
Zrillix,
The Patty Cake,
Yogi,
Damn,
Holden M,
Joe P,
Shane O'Mac,
Colin C,
Brock,
Voodoo,
Dr. Pookie Bear,
Alex the Golden,
Andrew H,
New Amsterdam,
Master Diz,
Jesse F,
Gloomy,
Bad Fella Gage,
Drifter, X1, Skirt,
Hope,
Presto,
Maverick,
Goops,
J Matt B3,
Ali Benali,
Michael B,
General G Dog,
Vorpal Matt.
and Brian.
Thank you so much for joining us during this episode. Super fun episode. State of play, a little bit of GTA. Yeah, you can't beat it. I assume that there's a chance that the next episode of this show is the post game breakdown for State of Play next week if it does happen on Friday. So if that does happen, first and foremost, make sure you join the Discord. It's linked in the description below because that's where we will announce, hey, we are reacting to it. This is how that whole day would work out. If it is Friday next week, if it is sometime different next week, if it's not next week at all, that's the place you want to be to stay updated on all of that. Thank you so much for joining us. Peace out.